Recently, President Trump declassified the document of U.S. Indo-Pacific Strategic Framework. The releasing of this classified document was 30 years earlier than expected. Why did Trump declassify this document so early? How did it guide the strategic deployment of the United States in the Indo-Pacific region in the past 3 years? Actually, it will also be affecting the future world structure significantly. Welcome to Beyond the News with Faye. Hello everyone, I'm Faye. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. Why did President Trump declassify this 10-page long document 30 years in advance? Let's see what the White House Security Advisor Robert O'Brien has to say about this. It is to convey to the American people, allies, and partners of the USA that this is a promise of a long-term commitment of the United States to the Indo-Pacific region. So what is the promise? The document says the CCP is the #1 threat in the Indo-Pacific region, followed by North Korea, which is number 2. The US government will continue to coordinate and protect the Indo-Pacific, making sure that it remains to be free and open, safeguard the sovereignty, stability, and prosperity of all countries. The United States must ensure that this vision will continue to inspire people of the world for a long time to come. This declassified document shows Trump's great contribution to the Indo-Pacific region as a US president for the past 4 years. It shows a series of strategic policies that are dedicated to protecting the stability and the sovereignty of the Indo-Pacific countries. For allies of the USA, this is a force of affirmation and support. This is also clearly an indication that the CCP is a primary threat to the Indo-Pacific region. And for the next US government administration, this is also a long-lasting wake-up call, telling it to play the role of world police well. So the question is, why does it identify the CCP as a more serious threat than North Korea? How was the United States fighting the battle against the CCP behind the scenes in the past 3 years in this regard? Let's look at one of the aspects written in the document, that is, the science and technology war between the United States and the CCP. It was said that the CCP was trying to dominate the market of cutting-edge technology, including artificial intelligence and biogene technology. If the CCP obtains these technologies, they will not only use them to serve its dictatorship, but also pose a more serious threat to the entire free world. Some people may think the United States must be the strongest in science and technology. Then how can the CCP be a threat to the United States and the world? As we are talking about technology, we have to mention artificial intelligence, which is AI. At present, scholars divide artificial intelligence into 3 levels. The lowest level is called the artificial narrow intelligence, weak AI. This kind of AI can reach the level of human intelligence or even exceeding human intelligence when performing only a specific job or task. So the disadvantage of that, it cannot be multitasking. One example is the AlphaGo, which is the famous AI that beat a Korean world champion in a 2015 tournament. It is a weak AI that can only play Go games. The second level is the so-called general artificial intelligence, which people generally think of. It gives life to machines so that they can think and do multiple tasks like humans, such as washing clothes, cooking, maybe even writing manuscripts for the video. That'd be nice. The third level is the highest level of AI. It's called the artificial superintelligence. This kind of AI is or will be more intelligent than human beings, just like all-knowing and all-powerful beings in the human world. It sounds impossible, and many people think that such advanced AI will not be made possible until a few decades later. However, an AI expert named Sirius said that this might not be far from us. One of the methods in creating such an ASI is to gather all human biometric identifiable information. It includes a series of data such as facial recognition, speech recognition, family data, geographic location, and DNA data, etc. And even analyzing the way of human thinking through different algorithms is needed, such as the understanding of a person's way of expression by listening to the person's speech, to understand a person's political tendency through understanding the person's preference in the video watched, even in the way he types and the keyboard typing speed, Whether he prefers to use one hand or both hands to type on his phone can be also used to analyze his personality characteristics. Freaky, huh? What is more dangerous is that all of this information can be digitized. If all this data are gathered together, artificial intelligence can process this data through algorithms so that it can analyze and even predict various human environments. That is the forming of artificial superintelligence. Wow. Does that sound worrisome to you? That a machine is going to be smarter than you and be able to do more than you? Let me know in the comments below. So how did the United States determine that China is posing a huge threat to the world? And how did these two superpowers were secretly competing in technology? Okay, when we talk about technology, we have to mention the big techs. Let's first talk about the Dragonfly Project, a secret project within Google, which was exposed by Intercept in 2018. To put it simply, the Dragonfly Project was created by Google for the CCP, which is a search engine that can censor speech. This search engine will automatically block contents that the CCP doesn't like, such as human rights, June 4th, Falun Gong, and many other such sensitive keywords. Not only that, as long as the search engine finds such sensitive words were searched, the search engine can backtracking and finding the user's phone number, thereby facilitating the police to catch the user. Are we starting looking at the same picture in the USA now? I wonder. Back then, in August 2018, Google had already prepared several search engines for the Chinese Communist Party's Dragonfly Project. One was called Longfei and the other was called Maotai, which is a luxury brand of Chinese rice wine. The name Longfei literally translated dragonfly into Chinese. At the time, it was said that the official version of this search engine could be released within half a year, before February 2019 to be exact. Speaking of this, you may ask, how can Google, as an American technology company, escape the scrutiny and accountability from the international community after such news broke out? Well, they didn't. After news came out, Google was collectively condemned by the US government and human rights organizations and even within Google company. You can imagine the pressure on Google's senior management at that time. However, it was not enough to stop them from going their own way. At the end of 2018, Google was questioned by an US parliamentary hearing and was asked about the projects in China. At that time, Google CEO replied that there was no plan to release a planned search engine involving censorship in China.
Right now, there are no plans for us to launch a search product in China.
At another hearing in early 2019, Google CEO said that they had terminated the Dragonfly Project. So officially from Google, we were told that the search engine for censorship involved in the Dragonfly Project was not continued on. Also, the CCP was not given the search engine by Google as scheduled. But is it really the case? There are many speculations. One is that Google had secretly given the search engine to the CCP. At the end of 2019, Baidu, which is the major search engine in China, released a new upgrade on their search engine algorithm. By the way, this is the first time that Baidu publicly admitted that this algorithm upgrading will target problematic search results and performing filtration on violated content or restriction on search display. As for Google's denial of giving the search results to the CCP, outsiders speculated that the file breaking out at Beijing's Google's headquarters in December 2018 was to destroy relevant evidence. Another speculation is that Google has actually returned to China through the Dragonfly Project, while Baidu is just acting like a shell, and this must involve a lot of money exchange. We won't have much discussion in this regard, but there is an issue we need to consider. Why does Google help the CCP develop projects that censor speech? If I say money is one of the reasons, but not the most important one, do you believe it? Before starting this, let's take a look at the leader of the Dragonfly Project, Scott Beaumont, revealed by a whistleblower who was a former Google employee. According to the whistleblower, as early as 2016, Google's top executives already had the idea of the Dragonfly Project. and Google's founder and parent company Alphabet's then executive chairman Eric Schmidt and CEO Pichai were all aware of the project. Scott Bowman is the head of Google's Asia-Pacific region, and he is in fact a very crucial link in this project. From his LinkedIn profile, we can see that he served as the executive vice president of the international telecommunications giant T-Mobile for 5 years. After he switched to Google, under his supervision, Google established the first Asian AI Center in China in 2017 and reached a long-term agreement with Tencent. By cross-sharing multiple technologies with Tencent, Google was able to earn Tencent's JD shares of less than 1%. Yes, you hear me. 1% is a pitiful 1% share. Interesting, huh? How come Google was so generous in this deal? Look, China is notorious for theft of intellectual property rights, and Bowman's agreement clearly put Google's patents in the hands of the CCP. But why did Google agree to do this? To know the reason, we have to talk about artificial intelligence, as mentioned before. As a leader in the field of science and technology, Google certainly wants to grasp the trend of future technology, and artificial intelligence is the future development trend. There is no doubt about this. But AI requires a lot of big data to train computer programs. To be specific, AI is just like human beings' intelligence. If you are familiar with a person, it will be easy for you to judge whether he likes certain things or not, whether he will do certain things, and whether he is willing to accept certain things. The more familiar you are with the person, the better you can judge and predict his action. Where does this familiarity come from? From observing him in life and getting along with him. So AI is working with the same logic. The more data the AI can have in all aspects of human, the more likely the AI can predict human behavior and eventually controlling human. I hope not. In this way, computer programs can be continuously trained in a large amount of data so that they can find patterns, match similar groups of people in the system, and predict the respective preferences of different groups of people, such as predicting whether a consumer will buy a certain product. If an AI knows your salary data, while the other AI doesn't, the accuracy of the judgments between those two AI programs, or AI humanoids, I should say that, is completely different. So as long as Google's AI can make more accurate predictions than other companies' AI, it can help Google to seize more of the major markets and bring more mega amounts of money. As the saying goes, just follow the money. But still, why would Google take the initiative to hand over its own technology to China? The first reason is that China has a huge population, which means a lot of big data. But this reason is not the most important one. What is most important is that under the rule of the CCP in China, the technology companies can collect massive amounts of information at will without paying much attention to personal privacy or any legal restrictions. For example, they can obtain chat history from WeChat and obtain salary records from Alipay, viewing browsing records from browsers, etc. Not to mention the giant network of nearly 630 million cameras all over China. There is nothing they can't see, only what we can't imagine. These software and hardware can collect people's all-round information. Let's think about it. In Western democracies, a company may be able to collect certain aspects of data. For example, YouTube has data on people's preferences for videos, and Apple has data on people's facial and voice recognition. Facebook has the big data about people's social networks, chats, text messages, but these data in Western society cannot be integrated easily to form bigger big data. However, in China, under the rule of CCP, things run differently. The government can gather all the data together within order. China has such a large amount of data and a variety of data, which was just the AI creators needed. So China's big data is much more attractive than the Western countries, where layers of laws protect personal privacy. This is one of the main reasons why big techs like Google never dare to say no to the CCP, and always trying to please CCP. As for the United States, especially under the Trump administration, the CCP is regarded as a primary threat. In terms of technology, the two key points are the main battlefields of the confrontation. One is to prevent the CCP from spying, stealing American intellectual property rights, and obtaining cutting-edge technology. The other, to prevent the CCP's surveillance and influence spreading further and deeper in the United States, acquiring big data from American people. Look at what CCP has done. Huawei's 5G equipment and the Belt and Road Initiative projects are all a part of the big data collection worldwide for the CCP's own agenda. In turn, the response of the United States, it insisted on promoting Clean Network Initiative, and the US has successfully cracked down on many Chinese-funded technology companies such as Huawei and ZTE. In terms of technologies, the United States were strengthening intellectual property protection and catching more Chinese spies. So at the very end, why does the United States list the CCP as its primary threat? How is the US secretly competing and fighting with the CCP in science and technology? I think you get the picture now. Alright, thank you for watching Beyond the News with Faye. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and share it to your friends. I'm Faye, I'll see you very soon.